Hello all, in this presentation we are going to discuss about mnemonics in community medicine. This presentation will be helpful in remembering the headings and confusing points present in community medicine. This presentation consists of nearly 16 slides which is compiled based on the mnemonics which I have come across and through contributions from my friends. This presentation may not cover all the mnemonics which are available. If you feel that I have missed out any good mnemonics which you know, please post that mnemonic in comment section. We can try import those mnemonics in next part of this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. So we are moving chapter wise from the beginning. So first is this mnemonic in epidemiology. So all the 16 slides of my presentation have been arranged chapter wise. So this is a mnemonic from epidemiology. This is criteria for judging causality. This criteria is called as Hill's criteria or Bradford's-Hill's criteria. This consists of 6 criteria which is given here. So it is temporal association, strength of association, specificity, consistency of the association, biological plausibility, coherence of the association. As we all know, these individual headings can be understood easily, but while writing in exams we may miss some of these headings. For this we have created a mnemonic, that is toxic shock syndrome, check BP continuously. T stands for temporal association, S stands for specificity, one more S stands for strength of association, check C stands for consistency, BP, that is biological plausibility here, continuously C stands for coherence. So that this is for the criteria for judging causality. In exam it will be called as Hill's criteria for judging causality or Bradford-Hill's criteria. Next chapter is screening, that is here in sensitivity and specificity we have many confusions in formulas, deriving the formulas. So in the earlier presentations I have mentioned, it is always better to keep this phrase remembered, that is sensitivity is defined as positivity indices. That is, sensitivity is the ability of the test to detect true positives among the deceased. Specificity is negativity in health. You will have to remember this phrase, negativity in health for specificity, positivity in disease for sensitivity. So here it is the ability of the test to truly detect the negatives among the people who are healthy. So in predictive values, the most important thing is all the formulas will be having P's. So positives will be here. In negative predictive values, all the formulas will be negatives. In all these 4 formulas, we have trues on the top. That is true positivity, true negativity, here true positivity, here true negativity. So all these formulas you have to, when you are writing, you have to check whether the truth is on top. In real life also, truth will be valued above everything. So here for the 4 formulas, for the 4 entities, we have this truth on the top. So positivity in disease. So all P's means positive predictive value, all N means negative predictive value. If you interchange here exactly the same, P means instead of T here the opposite is F, P the opposite is N. So then you have to, for sensitivity and specificity, you have to exactly opposite the numerator, and also you have to include the numerator for the denominator. So that is the ultimate thing about sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value and negative predictive value. When the test has good sensitivity, then we use it as a screening test. When the test has good specificity, we use it as a confirmatory test. Here the sensitivity, for example in HIV, ELISA is a good screening test because it has good sensitivity. Western blot test is a confirmatory test because it has good specificity. So you can remember with the 4th letter, sensitivity for screening, specificity for confirmatory test, sensitivity for screening and specificity for confirmatory test. So 4th letter is the mnemonic here, specificity for confirmatory test and sensitivity for screening test. And we have one more mnemonic with the 4th letter, that is we all used to get confused between these vaccines, live vaccines and killed polio vaccine. So we have to remember Salk and oral. So oral L will be live polio vaccine, Salk K will be killed polio vaccine. So oral live polio vaccine by Sabin, killed polio vaccine by Salk. That we have to remember. For polio virus strains, OPV 1, 2, 3. So OPV 1, 2, 3. So OPV type 1 is mostly involved in outbreaks of paralytic polio, which is still prevalent in this world. Type 2 and type 3 has been already eradicated. Type 2 was the first to eradicate. OPV, so 2 is a potent antigenic strain which was eradicated from the world prior to this type 3. So type 3 has been recently eradicated. OV, which is most commonly associated with vaccine associated polio. So type 1, type 2 and type 3, OPV. So O stands for more outbreaks, causing more outbreaks, which is type 1. Most potent is type 2, and most strain causing vaccine associated polio is type 3. And for the types of vaccines, we have STARK as the mnemonic. So that is subunit vaccine, toxoid vaccine, attenuated vaccine or live attenuated vaccine, recombinant vaccine, and killed vaccine or inactivated vaccine. So STARK is the mnemonic here. Subunit, toxoid, attenuated, recombinant, killed. Now we are in nutrition chapter. For assessment of nutritional status, we have the assessment methods including this clinical examination, anthropometry, biochemical evaluation, functional assessment and all. So all these things you have to remember by A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So we don't have anything for G. But if you arrange in A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, so anthropometric studies, biochemical studies, clinical evaluation, diet surveys, ecological surveys, functional status, health and vital statistics. So you can remember this assessment of nutritional status with the mnemonic A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Food toxicants. We always get used to confuse between endemic ascites, neuroletharism and epidemic dropsy. So we have to, we always confuse between these diseases and between this mechanism and between these toxicants. So here we have a mnemonic for this. This is SAD BSNL. S stands for sanguinarine. A stands for arginine oil. When it is mixed with mustard oil, it creates this toxin, that is sanguinarine, and ultimately it will cause dropsy. So this dropsy is epidemic. So epidemic dropsy, you may say endemic dropsy, it's not endemic dropsy, it is epidemic dropsy. So SAD BSNL, SAD is sanguinarine, arginine oil, epidemic dropsy. So BSNL, so B stands for Boas sativus, NL stands for neuroletharism. So when you are clear with these two, the other one out is endemic ascites, which is nothing but when crotalaria is mixed with this ginginia, pyroxolidine alkaloids will be there. So it will cause, it will create hepatotoxins and ultimately resulting in ascites, and it will cause endemic ascites. So food toxicants, these three will be the confusing thing. So you have to remember two based on SAD BSNL, and the third one endemic ascites. The third one endemic ascites will be the remaining one. Now in nutrition, we all get confused between what is the lacking amino acid in cereal and pulses. So to clear this, we have to pronounce this as cereal and pulse. So cereal means cereal, it sounds with L, so it will lack with lysine. Pulse, S, it sounds with pulse S, so it lacks with sulfur containing amino acids, that is cysteine and methionine. So that is the mnemonic you have to remember. Cereal lacks lysine, and pulse, it lacks sulfur containing amino acid. You should not say cereals, and you should not confuse that also. I am reminding you here, it is cereal and pulse, you have to remember that way. And protein content of the milk, humans contain 1.1% of protein content. Cow's milk and goat milk have about 3.3%, that is 3 times. Buffalo's milk have 4% protein. Buffalo contain 4.4% protein content in their milk. So now here effects of heat stress, shakes, you can remember this way. So effects of heat stress can be heat stroke, heat hyperpyrexia, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, and heat syncope. So how can we remember this is shakes, that is stroke, hyperpyrexia, exhaustion, cramps and syncope. Shakes will be the mnemonic. Then we have in entomology, the diseases transmitted, and remember this is diseases transmitted, this is not diseases caused. So mosquitoes will be dealt in the next slide. So for all these confusing vectors, we are going to see the mnemonics. So first we are going to see for the louse. Louse can be remembered with PERT, mnemonic PERT, that is for P stands for pediculosis, E stands for endemic typhus, R stands for relapsing fever, and T stands for trench fever. Diseases transmitted by rat flea, it is given by the mnemonic bench. So bubonic plague, BEN stands for endemic typhus, C stands for chiggerosis, Hymenopsis diminuta, H for H. So rat fleas can be remembered with the mnemonic bench. The louse can be remembered with PERT. Next we are moving to mite. Mite is, we can remember itch mite itch mite causes scabies, that is a known fact. The other mite is the trombiculate mite. So we have to remember it as missus. So M stands for mite, R stands for rickettsial pox, S stands for scrub typhus. Missus, M stands for mite, that is trombiculate mite, not your itch mite. Itch mite will be caused by scabies, that you can remember clearly. And diseases transmitted by soft tick is QRS. Q stands for Q fever, R stands for relapsing fever, S stands for soft tick. So where is the soft tick here? It stands for QRS. That is Q fever, relapsing fever is caused by soft tick. QRS. So then we have diseases transmitted by sandfly. It is KOOS, that is KOOS. K stands for Kala Azar. O2O we have oriental sore and Oraya fever. S stands for sandfly fever. Here we can remember the sandfly. KOOS as the mnemonic, KOOS. CC fly as the name indicates, it is C for sleeping, so you can remember it as easily. Black fly or onchocerciasis, Riduvit bug, Chagas disease. These and all are unique diseases. You don't have to confuse between these things. And this heart tick also you have to remember by your own, because if you remember these by a mnemonic, this heart tick will be left one. So this group of diseases such as tick typhus, viral encephalitis, viral fevers, viral hemorrhage fever, Kesnur forest disease, tularemia, tick typhus, human babyosis can be caused by heart tick. Heart tick will be confused with soft tick. So here we have to remember the mnemonic QRS. So in mosquito-borne diseases, many of the students remember this very clearly without mnemonic, but some students will confuse for the diseases and the vectors. So for this, Anopheles and malaria, these are all unique. Anopheles and malaria, Mansonites and Bruggen-malariasis, these are all unique. But Culex and Aedes, these are all set of diseases. So for Culex, we visited Japanese bank is the mnemonic. So V stands for West, V stands for viral arthritis, J stands for Japanese arthritis, B stands for Bancroftian filariasis. Diseases transmitted by Aedes, cried, CRYD, cried. So C stands for chikungunya and hemorrhagic fever, R stands for Rift Valley fever, Y stands for yellow fever, D stands for dengue and hemorrhagic fever, dengue hemorrhagic fever. So these are all the mnemonics which we can remember. Culex, we visited Japanese bank. Aedes, C cried, CRYD. So principles of primary healthcare. So the mnemonic here is either you can mention it as IACE or ACE inhibitor. So that is IACE. I stands for intersectoral coordination, A stands for appropriate technology, C stands for community participation, E stands for equitable distribution. So here we have to remember this is the principles of primary healthcare. Most of the time, these principles of primary healthcare, components of primary healthcare, all these elements of primary healthcare will be confused with principles of health education and components of health education. So you should be clearly differentiating between primary healthcare and health education. So elements of healthcare, here we have 8 set of elements. The mnemonic here is elements itself. Elements itself is the mnemonic for elements. So E stands for education about the health problems. L stands for locally endemic disease control and prevention. E stands for essential drug provision. M stands for maternal and child health, including family planning. E stands for immunization. Here the immunization is not I immunization. Here it is a immunization. And nutrition and food supply. N stands for nutrition and food supply. T stands for treatment of common diseases and injuries. S stands for safe water and sanitation. So for elements of primary healthcare, elements ELEMENT S is the mnemonic. Notifiable diseases under WHO. This is a common question, common 2-marker and common Viva question. So what are all the diseases notifiable under WHO? So at international level, the following diseases are notifiable to WHO in Geneva under international health regulations. This is, we can remember by the mnemonic yellow cup, cholera, plague and yellow fever. You can remember it as yellow cup, that is yellow, C cup stands for cholera and P stands for plague. Yellow fever, cholera, plague. Now we are with the last mnemonic, that is functions of voluntary health agencies. For the functions of voluntary agencies, we will have so many functions: supplementing the work of government agencies, pioneering, education, demonstration, guarding the work of the government agencies, advancing the health legislation. So here we can remember this as the mnemonic as a GASP. So G stands for guarding the work of the government agencies, A stands for advancing health legislation, supplementing the work, S stands for supplementing the work of government agencies, P stands for pioneering, E stands for education, D stands for demonstration. So this is gasped for functions of voluntary health agencies. Hopefully this presentation was useful to you. If I get more mnemonics in comment section, we can plan for part 2 of this video. All the best for your exam preparations. In coming weeks, we are going to discuss about important health days and its significance and epidemiology revision. Till then, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon for further updates. Thank you.